Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Apologies for being a bit late, guys. I was working very late last night, and just in general I've been working a lot more recently, so the video pace might slow down a little bit. I had made a goal to myself to be able to put out 2 battles a day for the entire year for 2018, and I mean, there have been a few times where I haven't been able to fulfill that, but for the most part I've been able to put out 2 battle replays or at least 2 videos a day. But I don't know that I'm going to be able to keep that up realistically over the next few weeks. You may see it start to go down to maybe 1 video a day, or I may miss a day here or there just because I'm very busy with my day job right now. So yeah, but we've got an awesome replay today submitted by a viewer with the Dawi going up against the Beastmen. The proud Dawi on the move here as the Beastmen are taking up a position in the forest here. This Dawi player very smartly going to be coming outside you know, in this open area and getting some good positioning here. A lot of Dawi players you'll see on ladder will be very static, but right here, this reposition is very key to be able to create some separation between the Dawi army and the forest here. But let's take a look at the builds. Rune Lord going to be leading the way here. He's just got the Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin for a nice, cheap leader. He's pretty tanky as well. Longbeards in the front line. Longbeards are a great choice in this matchup. Great melee defense, immune to psychology, and charge defense against large. Second line of Longbeards with great weapons. These guys have some armor piercing, no missile block chance, and less melee defense than the shielded variant, but still pretty solid. Got the 2 cannons, Dragonback Slayers, 3 units of Bugman's Rangers in a nice grouping here. These guys have stock and are currently hidden, it looks like. We've also got a unit of Iron Drakes, so looking to roast some beasts today. Speaking of the beasts, we've got Blackhorn's Ravagers here in the forest. We've got some Bestigor Herd. Looks like 4 Bestigor, some more Gore Herds with shields. We've got a Brave Shaman Lore of Beasts, quite a few Razor Gore Herds, a couple of Harpies, and Kazrak the One-Eye on a chariot. So we'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit through the early game here as the Beastman player going to decide to advance in just a moment here. You can see him emerging from the forest there. Obviously the Dawi player has a much better positioning here, but we'll see. I mean, the cannons, the Beastmen do have some tools that can shut that down. The Harpies are a pretty good choice here to help see off Gyrocopters. Gyrocopters are a serious threat in this matchup, so I really like the pick of the Harpies there. They can also fly in and potentially shut down these cannons as well, or you know, fly over and at least occupy the Bugman's Rangers. Bugman's Rangers will definitely beat Harpies in melee, but you know, they can at least hold them in place for some time. But right now, the cannons are focusing on the Bestigor Herd. In just a moment, they're going to go ahead and switch to Kazrak, which is the best target. You know, when you're playing as the Dawi, target prioritization is very important, as I've said before in previous Dawi videos. I don't make Dawi videos super often, but when you're playing the Dawi, target priority is the #1 thing for your ranged units. And an enemy lord, particularly on a chariot, just single model chariots in general, should always be one of your top priorities. However, you can see, just like I said, the Harpies are going to fly down and start to tie down these cannons. Despite the Dragonback Slayers being here, they can still probably deal with these cannon crews fairly effectively. That being said, just that 1 volley was able to do half Kazrak's HP in damage, so you just see there how brutally effective the Dawi cannons are, and even 1 good volley can get you a huge amount of value. Bugman's Rangers come in to try and shoot the Harpies away, help support the Slayers a little bit here, but not quite enough. The cannon crews are going to go down there. A little bit unfortunate, but you can see the Iron Drakes maneuvering out to a position on the flank where they can start to burn some of these Beastmen. The Blackhorn's Ravagers just getting a face full of flame there, and they're really not happy about that. The Longbeard's going to be chasing them away, and then these Iron Drakes are going to be used to kind of wrap up a lot of these units on this flank. Looks like a very nice wrap here on these Gore Herds with the Longbeards and Longbeards with great weapons on both sides. You can see the Slayers coming in, try and deal with that Brave Shaman Lore Beast, but of course the Beastman player can kind of pull through his own lines very effectively, so it's going to be tricky to catch him. The Bugman's Rangers, meanwhile, are going to be focusing on Kazrak One-Eye. Good target. The Bugman's Rangers actually have good enough AP values that they can get a solid amount of damage done, especially 3 units like this. The 2 that are kind of on top of each other are going to have a hard time. Not all of them can fire, but still, you can see they're doing some very effective damage there, and the Iron Drake's maneuvering around, like I said, over this other flank here. Brave Shaman's still in a relatively safe position, and one of those cannon crews did come back from routing. The other one looks like it did get shattered, but the Blackhorn's Ravagers coming back from rout here may just go after this cannon crew and try and take them down, but we'll see. You can see the flank getting rolled up here nicely by the Dawi, and we'll see these Iron Drakes firing over the heads of their compatriots there. Might potentially be quite damaging, but yeah, you can see it routes off those gore herds with shields. The Dragonback Slayers do have this effect here, and if we have a look, this power of the Dragonback does add flammable, so it adds a 22% weakness to fire to their melee attacks, so they will make these units weaker to fire damage, so some very good use of some synergy there. Let's see, did that effect actually go down on these Bestigor Herd? Yep, looks like they do have that flammable trait and then just get absolutely roasted by the Iron Drake, so some very good synergy there, burning the Beastmen, and yeah, very cool stuff. I really like that play there. And the Dragonback Slayers moved on. They did manage to apply that buff, or debuff rather, on those Bestigor Herd just long enough. Those Iron Drakes got some really nice work done and just roasting out a lot of those guys there. 45 kills on the Iron Drakes, about halfway to an XP chevron there. So not too bad. And this is the main issue with Razorgore Herd, why they're riskier than the Chariots. Chariots can be risky as well because they only have 3 unit models, and you know, the Razorgore Chariots, that is, they only have 3 unit models, and you know, they can get focused down by ranged units relatively well, but they won't enrage, and they can also punch through Dawi lines very effectively. But this Brave Shaman on his chariot here gonna get dragged down by the Dragonback Slayers, and the repositioning Iron Drakes there gonna come over and again start shooting into this big blob here. But these Razorgore Herds that are no longer enraged definitely need to pull back in a way and need to keep cycle charging, taking advantage of that 46 charge bonus, because their sustained melee stats are really quite poor, only 24 attack and 16 defense. So typically if I'm running a Razorgore build, I will take the regular Beast Lord over Khazrak because he has more support buffs. He has some really good, in particular, melee attack and charge bonus buffs that synergize very well with the Razorgore Herds here. But, I mean, they do synergize well with the Chariots, of course, but the Razorgore Herds have more models. You get a little bit more value out of them. And in Total War Warhammer 1, if you guys go back and look at the very old days of my channel when I was making videos in the late patches of Total War Warhammer 1, you'll see in some replays there me using a Beastman build with both Chariots and Razorgore Herd, and just a token front line of a few units to very good effect against the Dawi. I don't know how well that build would work in the current patches, as I haven't tried it. I'd imagine it would do okay, but the Dwarves, when they lost the Tormentor Sword, definitely got a big weakness to Chariots, but in this particular battle, the Chariots, the 2 Chariots, have been dealt with relatively effectively. You can see Khazrak going down there, and only 100 hit points on him. The Iron Drake's roasting out some more Blackhorns Ravagers. These guys have been very effective. Haven't quite got an XP chevron, but they might, but still, 65 kills. They're very close to getting an XP chevron there, but that's some pretty effective Iron Drake play there, and especially using that kind of very short-range unit against the Beastmen can be very tricky, because sometimes, well, often you'll see a lot of Bestigor, very fast, like hit-and-run type deal, and it can be very tricky to protect in expensive range units like Iron Drakes. But the Dwarf player doing very well here, and again, that coming over to the side and kind of positioning over here, creating some separation between himself and the forest was pretty key at the beginning there. I mean, the cannons didn't end up doing that much, but the few shots they did get on Khazrak, I think, were pretty key to the battle there. And you can see these Bestigor coming in, just getting pelted by the Bugman's Rangers there. And yeah, Bugman's Rangers, of course, an excellent pick, and man, what a cool shot, the Bugman's Rangers with the Iron Drakes firing right over their heads. That's got to be a little bit concerning, but thankfully the Iron Drakes had pretty good aim, no friendly fire there, and the Beastmen just get seen off. So, very fun battle. Thanks for submitting that one. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. I know some of you have been asking for some Dawi replays recently, and there you go. That was quite the Dawi replay, I have to say. The Iron Drakes definitely made that for me. You know, that especially combining that with the Dragonback Slayers, in particular on that one unit of Best Gore, that was a really solid play there. And it is worth noting that negative resistances do stack. I know there had been some confusion previously about that. In some comments and some other things I had seen, but minus resistances and weakness to fire do go below 0. In fact, the minimum value for resistances is minus 100. So stacking like a minus physical resistance, for example, from El Sif was the example that we were talking about in that specific comment. That minus 22% physical resistance will go into negative. Like, it's possible to have negative physical resistance, right? That up to minus 100. So that weakness to fire, or even the I'm trying to think of what the other effect is. I think there's another effect that gives weakness to fire for the Dawi. Let's see here. Is it the Thane's item? Let's go ahead and have a look. But those would stack and provide a very substantial weakness to fire here. Let's see. I believe it's this guy's item here. 22% weak. Oh, this is just straight up weakness to fire damage. Okay, so there's no confusion about the particular wording there. But yeah, the Dragonback Slayers, if you were to combine these two, that could give you even more, power. That being said, Thanes are kind of expensive and they don't really do a whole lot for you. They have hands down the worst item in the game, which is Silverhorn of Vengeance. I mean, plus 12 charge bonus is all well and good for Dawi, but you're not really going to be charging with Dawi all that much. I mean, yeah, sure, you might countercharge a little bit, but a lot of your units have charge defense, and, just by their very nature, Dawi have a defensive playstyle, so this item makes 0 sense to me whatsoever. But tangent aside, yeah, combining this Ironbeard's Ring with the Dragonback Slayers would get you the best value here. But I mean, the Dragonback Slayers are something that you're going to be bringing almost always anyway. So combining them with like even the War's Dragonfire Pass, Iron Drakes especially. There are some other units that deal fire damage as well. Gyrocopters with Brimstone Guns is one that not a lot of people think about, but they do deal fire damage, and they're pretty good in this matchup as well. Gyrocopters with Brimstone Guns are one of those units that has this anti-large trait, but it's kind of misleading. They're not necessarily great against single entities. Because their missile speed is kind of slow, it's pretty easy to dodge the projectiles if the target is moving around a lot, if they're changing directions quickly, or if they have an animation where they move around a whole bunch like a lot of single entities do. It can be tricky to actually hit them, so the Gyrocopter with Brimstone Gun, despite the fact that it has this anti-large trait, not actually that great against large targets. Cavalry it's pretty good against, but anything, with a smaller model count than your typical unit of cavalry, it's going to have a hard time actually connecting with its shots. That being said, again, it does deal fire damage, so, if you've got these Dragonback Slayers on something, you can come in, use those Brimstone Guns to just blast whatever they're fighting. Can be pretty effective. I'd imagine that, like, the Razor Gore herds and Best Gore would be very good targets for the Brimstone Guns there. So, and of course, Flame Cannons, bit of a meme unit. They don't have the best range. They're kind of expensive, but they do an insane amount of damage, finally, which is pretty decent. But again, fire damage, obviously. So, there's quite a few options for fire damage on the Dawi roster. So you can definitely get some good synergy with the weakness to fire effects there. And yeah, we saw that to decent effect in this particular replay. So hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.